Hi, I'm Linda Quinlan.
I'm Ann Charles.
I'm Keith Ghostland, and welcome to All Things LGBTQ. We are taping on Tuesday, September 16th. All Things LGBTQ is taped at Orca Media in Montpelier, Vermont, which we recognize is unceded Indigenous land. And Ann, you have something to say?
Sure, I'd like to start with a statement about the genocide in Gaza, which is proceeding and getting worse and worse and worse. People are starving. People are still being shot at. Now high-rises are being bombed, and they're being forced to dislocate at various places around the country, all of which are unsafe. And so I'd like to show you a picture now of shame. When Bibi Netanyahu visited the war criminal, according to the International Criminal Court, visited the United States in July, 14 of our representatives from the Senate posed for a picture with him. And I'd like to show you the picture now and identify these shameful figures. 7 Democrats and 7 Republicans: Adam Schiff from California, Chuck Schumer from New York, Jackie Rosen from Nevada, Maria Cantwell from Washington, Chris Coons from Delaware, Amy Klobuchar from Minnesota.
I'm surprised.
Cory Booker from New Jersey, and then the Republicans: Ted Cruz from Texas, Jim Reich from Idaho, Steve Daines from Montana, Bill Cassidy from Louisiana, Dave McCormick from Pennsylvania, John Thune from South Dakota, and John Husted from Ohio. That is the depth of the United States complicity in genocide. It's absolutely reprehensible. And I have a Gaza story coming up later in the program. But now...
I'm surprised at a couple of those.
I know, I'm
Democrats,
surprised too.
You never know. I wanted to start out by saying I broke a tooth eating an apple, so I'm going to have a little of a pumpkin look, but, you know, please excuse it.
It's very attractive, I think.
It's the season, or it's soon to be the season.
Yes. So that's my story. Now on to national news. The HRC, National Parents of Transgender Equality Council, is made up of a small but mighty diverse segment of the thousands of parents out there who every day are modeling love, acceptance, and affirmation for their trans children, and by extension, all trans children. So. West Hollywood has responded to criticism for flying the Progress Pride flag and transgender flag at half-mast in response to the killing of Charlie Kirk. The California city, known for its sizable LGBTQ plus population, released a statement Sunday saying that the lowering of the flag was not an endorsement of the late anti-LGBTQ activist who was assassinated Wednesday at Utah University, but rather an act of policy that follows the directives of President's proclamations. Does this make any sense to anybody?
No, because the president can only dictate what happens with the American flag, nothing supplemental.
And why it was flying at half-mast for someone who wasn't in the military or the government or, well, anyway.
Friend of Trump.
I know. E.J. Antoni, Donald Trump's nominee to run the Bureau of Labor Statistics, has a history of posting homophobic and misogynistic comments on social media, and he has embraced right-wing conspiracy theories. Antoni is an economist with the far-right Heritage Foundation, the think tank that created Project 2025, essentially a blueprint for Trump's second term. The administration has implemented many of Project 2025's recommendations, such as downsizing the federal government. So another wonderful character is going to be at the White House.
In charge of statistics, and that's what scares me.
Yeah, well.
Texas lawmakers voted to enact sweeping new restrictions on abortion pills mailed to the state. This is like offering a possible blueprint for other states that have banned abortion. The bill will also authorize lawsuits against pharmaceutical manufacturers if they make medications used by Texans for abortion, a provision that could chill drug development and make the pill harder to attain for people beyond the Lone State.
Lone Star State.
Yes, that one. Monica Helms, the Navy veteran and creator of the original transgender pride flag, is fleeing the country due to anti-LGBTQ persecution. She and her wife, Darlene Wagner, launched a GoFundMe earlier this year to facilitate their move abroad. And here is their picture. So if you want to contribute to their exit, you can find a GoFundMe. A painting of transgender Statue of Liberty will appear in Baltimore after the cancellation of an exhibition at the Smithsonian's National Portrait Gallery. Artist Amy Sherald, who canceled her American Sublime exhibition at the Smithsonian in July over alleged censorship, will instead show her work at Baltimore Museum of Art. The BMA exhibition will run from November 2nd to April 5th and feature 40 portraits, including the controversial Transforming Liberty, which depicts Lady Liberty as a black trans woman.
Do you have a
And here's a picture.
Wonderful.
Yes.
She pulled out of that Smithsonian exhibit right away. It was such an act of courage.
I know.
Yeah.
Well, police in York, Pennsylvania have arrested a suspect after a local drag artist and their friends were assaulted by a mob of people outside the bar 2 weeks ago. Devin Harbaugh has been charged with aggravated assault and strangulation in the attack of Sybil Starkhouse, known to their friends as Vane. New York police announced Sunday Stackhouse was beaten and choked while they and their two companions were leaving Gift Horse Brewing Company on August 22nd. Donald Trump Jr. has made the outrageous and false claim that transgender people are more dangerous than terrorist groups, more dangerous than Al-Qaeda and the Taliban. Can't make this up. Donald Trump has once again threatened to revoke Rosie O'Donnell's U.S. citizenship, something she believes is an attempt to distract from his connection to Jeffrey Epstein. As previously mentioned, we are giving serious thought to taking away Rosie O'Donnell's citizenship, Trump wrote Wednesday on Truth Social. She is not a great American and is, in my opinion, incapable of being so.
His opinion is so valuable.
I know. And I will do this, and then I will pass it on to you. President Donald Trump was called the Hitler of our time to his face on Tuesday night during the first ever dinner at Washington, D.C. restaurant outside the hotel he previously owned. In a staged appearance meant to showcase the city's supposedly safety under his federal takeover of policy, President Donald Trump was called Hitler of our time to his face on Tuesday night during his first ever dinner in Washington, D.C. restaurant outside the hotel he previously owned. So here, and the feminist group Code Pink claimed credit for the protest online. So here is the video of them hooting and hollering at Donald Trump.
And confronting.
Yep.
Trump is the Hitler of our time! Free DC! Free Palestine! Trump is the Hitler of our time! Free DC! Free Palestine! Trump is the Hitler of our time! Free DC! Free Palestine! Trump is the Hitler of our time! Free DC! Free Palestine!
You should all be ashamed that he was welcomed here. He's terrorizing communities in DC.
Time to go.
He's terrorizing communities all over the world, from Puerto Rico to the Philippines. Free Palestine! to Venezuela. He is terrorizing communities. He is not welcome to D.C. He's not welcome to Palestine. Palestine is not for sale.
Free DC, free Palestine! Trump is the Hitler of our time!
Shame on you all!
Shame on you! Free DC!
Shame on you all! He's not the Hitler of our time!
Okay, Ann, what you got?
I have some world news that's kind of unpleasant. Candidates in 85% of the world's elections have run on anti-LGBTQ talking points in 2024, a study has revealed. Candidates around the world have been this is really no news, but have been demonizing LGBTQ plus people to win political favor, but the community hasn't taken it lying down, and that's an upside to this story. More than 1.5 billion votes were cast in at least 89 countries during 2024, which has been dubbed Super Election Year. In at least 51 of the 61 jurisdictions studied, 85%, candidates used anti-LGBTQ rhetoric on the campaign trail. This included attacking so-called gender ideology and wokeism, claiming that LGBTQ people are foreign agents, and scapegoating the queer community to deflect from failed policies. Sound familiar?
Yeah.
The findings are a chilling indictment of the state of global democracy. Nehala Ghoshal, Senior Director of Law Policy and Research at Outright International, said, anti-LGBTQ rhetoric is no longer a fringe issue. It's a central tool in the modern authoritarian playbook, which we also know.
I think someone must have written that playbook, and people for the last 500 years have been following it.
Well, maybe they're hard to tell. There's one, the Project 2025,
Yeah,
but that's...
well, they probably copied that from Hitler.
In a year where far-right authoritarianism has gained traction, LGBTQ plus communities and other marginalized groups were among the first casualties of these anti-democratic attacks, according to this report that was just issued. The 5 largest democracies in the world, India, the European Union, the United States, Indonesia, and Brazil, all saw LGBTQ candidates or the community at large targeted. In the United States, Donald Trump's campaign, as we know, spent over $212 million on attacks and ads against trans people. The television advertisements were mostly repeated in battleground states, airing heavily during college sports games, pushing false claims about gender-affirming care and transgender athletes. However, it wasn't just the Republicans, as we just saw from that picture of shame that I showed you, who were complicit in demonizing the LGBTQ community. The report notes that post-election, several members of the Democratic Party in the U.S. blamed the party's crushing defeat on its perceived support for trans people's rights. And Linda has a friend who believes that, with whom I strongly disagree, despite surveys showing these issues were not a primary concern for voters. In the UK, the far-right Reform Party promised to ban transgender ideology in primary and secondary schools. In Canada, the leader of the Sask Party declared 11 days before the election that his first order of business would be to ban trans students from using single-sex facilities that do not match their sex at birth. Conservatives in New Brunswick campaigned against the Liberals' promise to end a policy requiring parental consent for teachers to use students' chosen names and pronouns. There's more. But this is the good. This is the turn. Despite the attacks against the community, the report noted another trend arose in 2024 that saw LGBTQ people in several countries show up to assert their place in the body politic, counter anti-rights movements, and stand in solidarity with other marginalized groups, even when it came at a price. In Bangladesh, and this is a surprise to me, LGBTQ people played a pivotal role in the July Revolution, a student-led mass uprising over civil service quota reforms and crackdowns against protesters. That ousted the long-serving prime minister, all this activism. In Turkey, a country in the Middle East, which is in West Asia that I'd never heard of, but activists continued to hold pride marches in spite of bans and police violence, so we should pay attention to this little country.
Yeah.
Queer communities mobilized not just their own rights, but in solidarity with all marginalized groups, understanding that their fates were intertwined with the health of democracy itself, the report states. So, you know, it's a mixed bag, but we're fighting back, and that's what I choose to take from this article.
Good.
Now,
We have to look up that little country.
you bet.
I was going to say, is it a new country? Is it a country that we may be familiar with and it's been renamed?
Well,
Or-
I think it's a tiny little country near Ankara, Turkey, which is made, Turkey is the, and I don't know if I'm pronouncing
All
it
right,
right,
well-
Turkiye.
It's a Google search over dinner.
I know, I know. I tried to do a little bit, but. So now let's have some bad news from Africa. Remember, I spent a lot of time talking about the Moroccan feminist who said Allah is a lesbian. Let's look at a picture of
what
her
happened to her?
wearing the shirt. She argued that she had a constitutional right to free speech and therefore could wear the shirt. She's going to prison after she's posted a selfie wearing a T-shirt that read Allah is a lesbian, and there we have a picture.
No free speech then.
Right, Ibitsam Betty Lachkar, 50. And I dug into this a little bit, and what happened was she was living in London in 2022, and she posted it there. And somebody found it and rebroadcast it in Morocco, reposted it in Morocco.
When she got back.
So she got set up.
Yeah.
So anyway, the court in Rabat sentenced her to 2.5 years in prison and $5,000 in fines for blasphemy, according to her attorney. And the other wrinkle is she's a cancer survivor, and she had bone cancer and has had a bone transplant in her arm, and all this
Supposed to
health.
have a lot of medications. probably.
Well, she's going to get no medication, and all her health providers are in France. So her family, especially her sister, are really worried because she's looking really bad every time they see her. The presiding judge ruled Wednesday night that she was guilty of violating part of Morocco's criminal code that outlaws offending the monarchy or Islam. She doubled down on the T-shirt's message and the caption that accompanied the post, reading, "In Morocco, I walk around with T-shirts bearing messages against religions, Islam, etc. You tire us with your sanctimoniousness, your accusations. Yes, Islam, like any other religious ideology, is fascist, phallocentric, and misogynistic."
Yes.
So the
I
court
like her.
They gave her 30, the response was swift. They gave her 33 days between her post on July 31st that had been reposted and her arrest on August 10th and her conviction on Wednesday.
And how long?
A psych-
33 days?
2.5 years is what she's been. A psychologist by trade, she is well known in Morocco for her outspoken feminist activism, much of which I outlined last time. She coordinated the Alternative Movement for Individual Freedoms, which campaigns for personal freedoms, including abortion, access, and same-sex marriage legalization. Over the years, her activism for women's rights, LGBTQ plus equality, and freedom of expression has repeatedly put her in conflict with Moroccan authorities. She's been arrested and detained several times. At Wednesday's hearing, she appeared fatigued as she told the judge that she had no intention of offending Islam, arguing the T-shirt reflected only a political message. Her attorney said wearing the T-shirt falls under freedom of expression, a constitutional right in Morocco. They called the charges unconstitutional. Her defense team plans to appeal. Not only is this verdict unjust, but it also threatens the freedom of speech and opinion, said the head of the Moroccan Association of Human Rights. So that's sad, but I hope she prevails, and I hope they
I
can
know,
get
these
her out.
people are so brave.
And people around the world know
Yeah.
of her and are petitioning for her release. Now let's go to Asia, where we have a mixed bag. Human rights groups slam Hong Kong lawmakers for rejecting a gay rights bill. The bill would have granted only limited rights to same-sex couples living in the country if they were married overseas. It was met with opposition. 71 members of the 89 member legislature voted it down. In 2023, Hong Kong's top court ordered the government to legally recognize same-sex relationships and gave them 2 years to enact legislation. And this was the legislation that they tried to enact, and it was voted down. With disdain, Human Rights Watchdog Amnesty International has responded to the rejection of a bill criticizing the disdain. It said even a small step forward in rights for same-sex couples has proved unpalatable to the Legislative Council. Wow. It's a setback which shows just how far it has to go before everyone in this city can enjoy rights. Gay marriage is, not surprisingly, still illegal in Hong Kong. In 2024, 10 LGBTQ couples tied the knot in a mass wedding, even though it was not recognized by law. And as I mentioned last year, Hong Kong's highest court ruled in favor of a trans activist identified only as Q, saying that transgender men and women no longer have to undergo full gender affirmation surgery before being able
Was
to...
Hong Kong, when it was British, under British rule, did they have marriage then? No.
I doubt
Okay.
it.
Yeah.
But there's another side to Hong Kong, which I'd like to share now. Because as these awful laws are being passed, the culture has changed. So the Hong Kong Lesbian and Gay Film Festival 2025 is going to show 22 movies, 37 shorts. It's the 36th Hong Kong Lesbian and Gay Film Festival, a critical reflection on the challenges faced by the LGBTQ community members under threat around the world. There was a sudden cancellation of last year's Pink Dot, one of Hong Kong's largest annual LGBTQ events, as well as increasing attacks on the global community concurrent with the rise of the far right, all of which highlights the need for LGBTQ plus filmmakers to reclaim their voice through creative expression, and they are. And I think this underscores a point that I'd like to hold on to, that even as the laws are awful, the culture has changed and activism continues.
Good.
And this is the 36th Hong Kong Lesbian and Gay Film Festival. It's running from September 12th to 27th. It continues its role as I'd love to, but except the signature film that they're starting with is Jumpa, that we saw at the Provincetown Film Festival. Continuing its role as a cultural platform for LGBTQ plus cinema in Asia, the festival will feature, as I just said, 22 feature films and 37 shorts, reflecting the progress and rights over the past 3 decades. The opening movie is Jumpa 2022, a queer family drama starring Olivia Colman and John Lithgow that premiered at the Sundance Film Festival in January. And I've been waiting to share the clip on our show until it becomes more widely available in the United States.
Okay, we need to move on now.
Fine.
You thought you knew that was coming.
Yeah, I know, I just sensed it.
Okay, it is still Hispanic Heritage Month. You know this answer. This was the first openly LGBTQ plus candidate to run for public office in the United States. Notice the distinction, to run for. I didn't say elected. I have to do these disclaimers, otherwise.
I don't know. I'll have to think about that.
Yep. Looking at events, I want to put a plug in for queervermont.org. They are becoming the go-to site to look at events that are happening statewide within our community. And when you go onto their site, look not just at the calendar, but all of the posters that are being displayed underneath it because there is a wealth of information and events, but they missed one. September 11th might have been a special anniversary day.
Yeah,
Shucks.
And how many years?
43.
I knew it was in the 40s, but I couldn't remember if it was 42 or 40. Congratulations.
Thank you.
And then looking at Rainbow Umbrella, the women's discussion group, you are meeting in person again.
We are.
Should we put this on queervermont.com?
Yes.
Okay.
And the book discussion group, and you are reading, and you knew I was going to ask you.
The Palace of Eros, and we finished it, and we went to another book group that was very edifying with the author. And at the women's discussion group, we're going to talk about Arundhati Roy talking about her new memoir,
About her mother.
Mother Mary Sings to Me.
Yeah, maybe.
Okay. And there might be an event coming up at the Barry Social Club that
Yes,
we'd
but
like
that-
to promote.
That won't be till November, and hopefully I'm going to get it in the queervermont.com. And we're going to be doing a LGBTQ story hour based on a moth model that's on NPR. So hopefully we'll have more information about that as it gets closer.
So start getting your stories ready,
Yes.
and no more than 5 minutes, correct?
Right, and
Okay.
no paper,
And, oh,
No notes.
no notes.
and Ann's going to have the hook?
I'm the timekeeper.
All righty. And Rainbow Bridge
Is part
Community
of this.
Center, and they also have their queer coffee clatch Thursday, September 25th from 2:30 to 4:30 p.m. specifically for 50 plus. I think we just qualify.
Barely.
There, I know. And my favorite event coming up, the pajama party at Babes. Saturday, September 27th, 8 to 11 p.m. $5 admission. Tell your mother you're sleeping over at your cousin's and come and dance. So, but also on the 27th, new organization, Northeast Kingdom Rainbow Coalition, they are having the second annual Dirt Bag Drag event.
What's it
that?
called? New England, Northeast Kingdom.
Rainbow Coalition.
Okay.
It's going to be at the barn at Hillside Farm in East Albany, Vermont, and it's the Dirt Bag Drag. Hosted by MC Brad Clitt.
All right.
It promises laughs and a bit of chaos. So I'm looking forward to that one.
Yes.
Drag Queen Story Hour is back,
Great.
and they are doing events statewide. And if you go on to Emoji Nightmare's site, there is a listing of all the events, the locations, the library, and the times. September 21st, which is, if you're seeing this on Saturday night, it's tomorrow in Waterbury. October 18th in Middlebury, the 22nd in Rutland, November 9th in Craftsbury, November 15th in Huntington, and also in Rochester, Vermont. And I'm told they're negotiating to do one in Northfield. So, but you can never get enough of emoji,
No.
That's absolutely right.
which is why on Sunday, September 21st, again, that would be tomorrow if you're seeing this on Saturday night, it's drag brunch at the Stowe Street Cafe. They are doing 3 shows, 10, 11:15, 12:30. You get a complimentary drink, and there is an incredible menu to choose from, and an hour-long drag show.
Where?
The Stowe Street Cafe in Waterbury.
Wow, that might be fun.
Admission is $55.
Oh,
Oh, no, but I will hand you the list of these.
And that includes food?
No, that's the food, the complimentary, the mimosa, whatever, welcome and the drag show.
Oh, that's not bad.
So, and they're going to be doing this sort of in an ongoing basis.
You know, it's so exciting, really, that there's so much going on around Vermont that never used to be.
Exactly.
I mean, it's like everybody's stepping up to do this stuff.
Yeah.
It's great.
And that's why, you know, the Queer Vermont site is so useful, is they are really trying to make an effort for statewide. Last thing is, remember, Bisexual Awareness Week is September 16th until the 23rd. And I looked for, but I didn't see where anyone is hosting a specific event on Bisexual Awareness Day, which is the 23rd.
Okay.
So I'll hand it back to you.
For more wonderful national news.
Well, and I get depressing
I
things
know.
coming up as well.
Well, the House Oversight Committee Chairman James Comer labeled out Representative Robert Garcia a drama queen. Remarks taken by the Democrats as a homophobic slur. Really? Comer, a Kennedy Republican, made the comment to press after Garcia, the ranking Democrat on the House Oversight, alleged the White House was trying to cover up files in the investigation of dead sex trafficker Jeffrey Epstein. Michael Selzer, a longtime LGBTQ rights activist, one of the first people to raise funds for the fight against HIV and AIDS, has died at the age of 78. Here's his picture. Seltzer, a native New Yorker, worked for a variety of foundations after graduating from Syracuse University in 1968. His volunteer activism included becoming co-chair of Lambda Legal's board of directors. He was spurred to raising funds to deal with the AIDS crisis, partly by a 1985 visit with a friend, Bob White, who was being treated for the disease at the Pasteur Institute in Paris. So he'll be missed.
Yes, that's sad.
You know. And a 34-year-old Inglewood, California man has been charged with the murder of two men he met on a gay dating site, didn't say which one, and attempted murder of another while he was on probation for a series of burglaries. The Los Angeles County District Attorney's Office announced murder charges Monday against Rakeem Prowell, 35, for the killing of two men in their 50s, and an attempted murder of another man earlier this year who managed to escape with injuries. So be careful out there, folks. Earlier this week, Arizona Governor Katie Hobbs announced that 900 children have been accepted from the state's child care assistance waitlist, according to the press release. This was made possible due to the Governor Hobbs signing a bipartisan fiscal year 26 budget into law last month, allocating $125.9 million in the state and federal funds for child care, as well as including the largest investment of general funds for child care since the Great Depression. And the reason I wanted to talk about this, even though it's not LGBTQ specific, was just, you know, how we as states are going to have to be doing more and more of, you know, taking care of health care, taking care of daycares, taking care of, you know, vaccines. I mean, all of the stuff that is going to be, you know, and I think that's a very progressive thing. I know Mondami wants to do much of that in New York City. So a San Diego naval doctor was removed from command last week after right-wing activists began sharing screenshots of her Lincoln account on ex-commander. Janelle Mara is a Navy physician with 21 years of service, and according to her Navy biography, she spent most of her career in San Diego area, splitting time between San Diego Naval Medical Center and Camp Pendleton. On her LinkedIn account, Mara lists she, her pronouns, and her bio says she's the Navy Deputy Medical Director for Transgender Healthcare. So she was fired after 21 years. In Orlando, Florida, the LGBT community and allies are now painting their driveways, garages, and houses with gay colors.
I love that.
I know. They took one off somewhere else, but I can't remember. Somewhere in Texas, I think. Let me see. Brown University has cut a deal with the Trump administration to restore research grant funding to the school for commitments on women's sports, anti-Semitism, and admission practices. And a promise to donate $50 million to workforce development programs. So all the Ivy League schools are just like folding like a deck of cards here.
And they're the ones with the largest endowments.
They want to save their money.
A group of customers reported an anti-LGBT attack in York, Pennsylvania on Friday.
Oh, you did that.
Yes, I did. Sorry.
I have a friend who lives in York. That's why it stands out to me.
All right. Then for my last story is Richmond lost more than a business owner this week. On September 2nd, 2025, Vicki Hester, the longtime owner of Babes of Carytown, passed away at age 71. For many, her death marks the end of an era. For nearly 5 decades, Hester kept the doors open to one of the most oldest lesbian bars in the country, and in doing so, she helped hold the community together. According to the bar staff, Hester passed away a long battle. She fought a long battle against cancer and died early Tuesday morning. She's survived by her wife, Ashley Hester, and their dog, Charlie.
You have a picture?
No, I could send one in, though. Okay. All right, Ann.
Okay. This is I'm counting this as an Asia story, although it involves Hollywood. And, you know, the news of Gaza is filtering out into the mainstream. I'm not sure if you've seen occasional mentions of it on, you know, cable news outlets that are mainstream. So Hollywood LGBTQ stars have signed a pledge to boycott the Israel film industry over the war in Gaza. Numerous LGBTQ plus actors and film industry professionals have just signed a declaration urging the international film community to boycott all Israeli film institutions in protest of the risk of genocide of Palestinians. The declaration has over 1,200 signatories, and I would amend their declaration to say there's no risk of genocide. It's absolutely occurring. This is part of the statement. As filmmakers, actors, film industry workers, and institutions, we recognize the power of cinema to shape perceptions, the declaration states. The world's highest court, the International Criminal Court of Justice, has ruled that there is a plausible risk of genocide. Again, the language is too tame for me. And that it's Israel's occupation and apartheid against Palestinians are unlawful. Standing for equality, justice, and freedom for all people is a profound moral duty that none of us can ignore. In this urgent moment of crisis, where many of our governments are enabling carnage in Gaza, including the U.S., we must do everything I added the parenthetical. We must do everything we can to address complicity in that unrelenting horror, the declaration continues. We answer the call of Palestinian filmmakers who have urged the international film industry to refuse silence, racism, and dehumanization, as well as to do everything humanly possible to end complicity in the oppression. The signatories have pledged not to screen films, appear at, or otherwise work with Israeli film festivals, cinemas, broadcasters, production companies, and other institutions that are implicated in genocide and apartheid against the Palestinian people. The declaration states that it was inspired by the Filmmakers United Against Apartheid, a group that refused to screen the films in apartheid South Africa during the late 1980s. And so there's a history of this kind of activism. The LGBTQ, and I'll tell you some straight signatories are Olivia Colman and Mark Ruffalo. The LGBTQ plus signatories include gay director and screenwriter Lucas DeHunt, gay actor and filmmaker Xavier Dolan, queer actress Ayo Edebiri, bisexual actress Hannah Einbein the other day, and mentioned Gaza in her acceptance speech. Non-binary actor Ilana Glazer, non-binary queer actor Lily Gladstone, gay actor Joel Kim Booster, lesbian actress Miriam Margolyes, trans actress India Moore, remember her from Pose? Queer actress Cynthia Nixon, bisexual non-binary actor Sarah Ramirez, and queer actress Tilda Swinton. This is apropos of coalition building. Over in December 20, it's not new either, in December 2023, over 330 LGBTQ artists pledged not to perform in Israel until a ceasefire occurs. As of September 3rd, and this is important to note, over 64,739 Palestinians and 1,983 Israelis have been killed in Israel's military actions against Palestine following the October 7th, 2023 attack on Israeli civilians launched by Hamas from Palestine, according to the Gaza Health Ministry and Israeli Ministry of Foreign Affairs. Israel has been accused of deliberately targeting journalists, humanitarian aid workers, children, refugee camps, and critical infrastructure in its ongoing attacks. The U.S. president, and this is one more sickening thing that we all know, has said he wishes to clean out Gaza and establish beachfront resorts in the devastated region. His comments were widely condemned as an endorsement of ethnic cleansing. So anyway, that's a movement of coalition in our community. Now let's go to Europe, and let me show you on another note, film from Norway. It's called Dreams, and it's part of a dream, sex, love trilogy. And when Lynn and I were in the Provincetown Film Festival, we tried to see it and got the wrong film because there are two theaters right across the way from each other.
So we sat in the wrong theater?
So we sat in the wrong one. And the other film was called Seeds, and it was like watching the seeds grow. We thought this must be the wrong movie, and so it was. Anyway, that's a little TMI probably. A 17-year-old girl experiences a sexual awakening when she falls head over heels in love with her female teacher. She writes this down in her diary and writes so well, vividly and recognizably, that both mother and grandmother think the book should be published without taking into account that this girl has only written it to keep the crush alive for herself. This is available at film festivals, and Norwegian director Dag Haugaard's dream, it's the third part of his Dream, Sex, Love trilogy, which won the Berlin Festival's top prize last winter. It repeats the structure of the other two films. Each scene places 2 or 3 people in dialogue and features an extensive voiceover. Unlike Love and Sex, it dives straight into the act of storytelling itself. Not surprisingly, he turned to filmmaking after a career as a novelist. So let's look at a clip from Dreams.
Og det var først da, i det jeg tenkte det ordet, at det liksom gikk opp for meg hva dette handlet om. Jeg var jo bare helt utrolig forelsket i Johanna. Det var jo derfor jeg skrev det ned også, for å bevare det. Det føltes som å kaste seg ut for et stup. Enten ville jeg bli redda, og alt ville bli bra, eller så ville livet ta slutt.
Då kan ikke visst noe, du heller?
Ja, ikke før jeg leste dette her.
Du.
Da føler jeg meg bare så dum.
Du må jo ha sett henne naken, da.
Tenkte jeg også. Men samtidig så er det jo et grep, da. Litterært, mener jeg.
Jeg tar gjerne en samtale med henne.
Tenker du det at dette er noe som du kan tenke deg å gi ut, liksom?
Ja.
Det er for det er noen veldig intime beskrivelser.
Ja. Veldig seksuell.
Å kunne beskrive kjønn og seksualitet så direkte uten alle mulige kyske forbehold, det trengs. Dette her er jo en historie om skeiv oppvåkning.
Her er boka di.
Skeiv oppvåkning?
Ja, det er det jo.
Men er jeg skeiv bare fordi jeg forelska meg i Johanna?
Oui, c'est juste.
Det å være forelsket på den måten, jeg merket hvordan jeg savner det.
Jeg tenker på alle de jeg har ligget med her.
Not
good.
seeds.
Not seeds, no. I couldn't believe it. Okay, more news. Iconic gay designer Giorgio Armani is dead at 91. Let's look at a picture of him, one of the most popular and respected fashion designers of all time. He's died at 91 of liver failure at his home in Milan. While the Italian designer remained private for most of his life, he opened up about his gay experiences in a 2024 interview when he said, "I was in a group of boys and there was a supervisor, a young man who I felt immediately attracted to. I didn't fully understand it at the time and I didn't pursue it," he explained. "But from that moment on, my life took a different turn." The death announcement says they want everything to be private. Armani is also known as one of the richest people in the LGBTQ plus community, alongside other out gay billionaires like Peter Thiel and David Geffen. As of today, he was the 234th richest person in the world, according to Forbes, with a net worth of over $12.1 billion. So he did well for himself.
So should you kind of read the headlines now if you
Yes,
can?
and I've kind of left my optimistic stories for the end.
Make it good.
Dutch Parliament votes to criminalize gay conversion therapy. Hooray, finally. And then, of course, this is very positive. The vote passed. There was a little opposition. The vote passed after the draft legislation was altered so that it would only be punishable to systematically and intrusively try to change someone's gender or sexuality. Simple conversations, such as between a religious leader and a believer, about encourage them not to be LGBTQ will not be criminalized. The law protects vulnerable people from harmful practices that endanger their health and safety. This is a choice for freedom and human dignity, social liberal legislator said. And of course, then it follows by the fact that the UK is dragging its heels and hasn't done it, hasn't banned it. And of course, there are no federal laws. And this goes back to what Linda was saying about the importance of the states. There are no federal laws banning conversion therapy. So the Dutch people are ahead of us, and thank you to them. Now, this is kind of colorful. A Polish ultra-right politician left the party over relations with the transgender model. And let's take a look at a picture of them there. David Shostak and Michelana Manios. He was a member of the Confederation Party, and you could see him in that intense uniform. He stepped down because he wants to spend time with his new partner. The decision came as a surprise to many, as Manios is transgender. She gained popularity through her participation in various TV shows and is now studying psychology and sexology. Shostak expressed admiration for the photographs, which he believed exude energy and femininity. After their first meeting, they began dating, and they are bonded by their Catholic religion. And last, my most exciting story is activists in the Ukrainian city of Kharkiv hold an annual Pride event. Kharkiv is less than 30 miles from the Russian border, and it was an auto pride because it's so dangerous. So let's look at a picture of the auto pride, 17 cars driving through the main streets, and it was a motorcade format as opposed to a street march because of safety concerns. And I'd like to also now, I mean, what courage. I'd also like to show you a picture now of the organizer of this event, Anna Sharhana, co-organizer of Kyiv Pride and president of the Sphere Women's Association. Kharkiv needs Kharkiv Pride, a powerful and vivid distinction from Russia. We strive to live in a free and safe country and to have the same rights as heterosexual people. Every day, LGBTQ people contribute to the victory, so the state must finally provide us with protection. Kharkiv Pride. Great note to end my coverage on.
Before I talk about some recent news, I want to reaffirm the states need to step up, looking at what the Netherlands are doing, outlawing conversion therapy. Remember, in October, our Supreme Court is taking up a case coming out of Colorado that would reinstate conversion therapy as a valid practice. So be attentive. But it doesn't end there. In the past, no. I'm bringing it home now.
Okay.
We have reported in the past about Mid-Vermont Christian School, that the Vermont Principals Association denied them access to intercollegiate sports because they refused to play against a team that might have a transgender member. Well, the students, the school, the parents were represented by the Alliance Defending Freedom. They filed suit. The federal district court said, no, you're not going to be reinstated. We are going to let this. Last week, that got reversed. And this federal court of appeals judge said that, no, I'm reversing the decision, agreed with the school's claims that they are likely to succeed in showing the Vermont Principal Association's exclusion of the school was not neutral because it displayed hostility towards the school's religious beliefs.
Yeah.
And that they had publicly castigated Mid-Vermont and religious schools in general and rushed to judgment on whether and how to discipline the school, and has sent it back to the district court saying, we want you to reconsider this and perhaps come up with a different finding. So
Keep us posted.
we're under the gun. And speaking of being under the gun, our Secretary of State, that theoretical they might ask for voter data, they have asked. And they are specific as to what they want. Full names, home addresses, birthdays, driver license number, the last 4 digits of your social security number. And our Secretary of State is continuing to say, no, Vermont statutes do not allow, we will not be submitting it.
Good.
They're coming back with, okay, we are entitled to this information.
And if you don't give it to us?
Well, no. They're saying it would have to go to court for appeal, that they're entitled to it. However, they also kind of slipped that they needed to verify that Vermont is following voter registration laws. But they kind of let it slip in there that they were also probably going to be sharing any information they got with Homeland Security.
Absolutely.
To look for the undocumented and that's specifically what Vermont statutes prohibit. So Positive news.
Good.
Vermont Medical Society, they were part of a suit against the current federal administration, U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, for deleting LGBTQ plus information on their websites. The state of Washington, their medical society, was in the lead, but ours signed on. And guess what? They won.
Good.
Good.
And they, as part of the agreement, they have to restore over 100 different LGBTQ sites.
Good.
And
Good.
part of the Vermont argument is they already had physicians that were reporting, this is how you are endangering our practice, because one of it was LGBTQ youth group. So the trivia question, first openly LGBT plus candidate to run for public office in the United States. If I told you it was 1961, San Francisco, and that they might also have been known as the Nightingale of Montgomery Street when they performed at the Black Cat Bar, Jose Julia Serrara.
Oh.
And you should have known it because it was the question last year. And if you see the same pictures, it's because it's what I already had in my archive.
I see. Well, there we go.
But next year, you're either ready or I'm going to fool you.
All right.
All
What's the
right.
deal?
Now, everybody, remember to resist.
Resist.